There is a war happening inside you right now, and most people never even realize it. Because it's not a war fought with guns or fists. It's fought in silence, between your thoughts and your future, between your higher self and your history, between who you are and who you were told to be. Every dream that dies first in the mind, not in your environment, not in your circumstances, but in the private battlefield between your ears. You either master your mind or you live enslaved by it. You either direct your thoughts or you are directed by them. There is no neutral ground. Your mind is either working for you or it's working against you. And the tragedy is that most people spend their entire lives obeying a voice that doesn't belong to them. A voice programmed by fear, shaped by doubt, conditioned by the world around them. They think their thoughts are their own, but they're just echoes of limitation, planted by others, rehearsed over years and now accepted as truth. Napoleon Hill said, "You have absolute control over but one thing, your thoughts. And what you do with that control determines the course of your life." Let that sink in. Not your upbringing, not your education, not your talent, not even your luck. But your thoughts, those invisible, private, often ignored patterns you repeat daily. That's the lever. That's the root. That's the origin of every action, every habit, every result. The question isn't, am I thinking? It's, what am I thinking? And who chose those thoughts? Because if you don't master them, they will master you. If you don't choose belief, doubt will choose you. If you don't choose focus, distraction will consume you. If you don't choose discipline, chaos will direct your days. And if you don't choose greatness, mediocrity becomes your default. Look around. How many people do you know who live in quiet desperation? Not because they lack potential, but because they never confronted the voice in their head that told them to shrink. You see, no one is born disciplined. No one is born brave. We are born as raw potential, malleable clay, and the mind is the sculptor. Every thought is a stroke of the chisel. Every belief shapes the form. Every repeated pattern carves you into who you become. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your mind does not care about your dreams. It only cares about your comfort. It's built to keep you safe, not successful. So if you are waiting to feel ready, to feel confident, to feel motivated before you act, you've already lost. That decision must come from you. You must become the master. You must become the architect. You must take the reins, pull them tight, and declare, "This mind works for me. I do not work for it." And how do you do that? By training it, by feeding it, by challenging it, by breaking the cycle of passive thinking and replacing it with intentional creation. You must think on purpose, speak on purpose, believe on purpose. Because if you don't, your environment, your trauma, your fear, your past, they will do the thinking for you. Let others live as slaves to the chaos of untrained thought. You were not born for that. You were born to rule yourself first, and through that, everything else. Now step forward. There's a new standard waiting. The fire has only begun. Your outer world will never rise above your inner world. The level of clarity, control, and conviction you have in your mind is the ceiling for everything outside of it.
your bank account, your body, your relationships, your ability to lead, create, and conquer. It all bends to the temperature of your thoughts. You do not get what you want, you get what you believe. And belief is not a feeling. Belief is a decision backed by repetition. You train belief like a soldier trains discipline, relentlessly, every day, with precision, with standards that don't bend to your mood. Because if you only believe in yourself when life looks good, you're not believing, you're reacting. True belief is forged in the fire. It is carved in silence. It is repeated so often and so loudly that doubt no longer fits inside your frame. Napoleon Hill knew this. He said, "Faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches." But faith is not magic. It is not waiting for evidence. It is building the evidence through persistence. You believe in something by acting like it's already real. You show up as if the success you want is already watching you, waiting to meet you at the level of your preparation. This is not delusion. This is design. Every empire is first imagined. Every breakthrough is first believed, and every transformation begins in the mind, long before the world sees it. So you have to ask yourself, what am I rehearsing? What thoughts am I repeating so often that my mind has accepted them as truth? Because the mind is obedient. It listens without filter. It accepts what you say, whether it empowers you or destroys you. Tell yourself you're a failure often enough, and your mind will build a life to match it.
Uncomfortably honest with yourself. What do you actually want? Not what sounds good, not what others expect, but what your soul aches for. Because once you are clear, your mind has a target. And a mind with a target is dangerous. It begins filtering the world through that purpose. It starts eliminating what doesn't fit. It starts attracting what does. It builds momentum without needing motivation. But when you lack clarity, you hand your life over to chaos. You react instead of lead. You drift instead of drive. You chase instead of build. Clarity isn't a luxury. It's a requirement. Without it, even the strongest mind becomes weak. So wake up every day and ask, what am I building? What am I thinking? Does this thought serve the future I'm creating? And if the answer is no, replace it. Relentlessly, without apology, without delay. Because mastering your mind isn't about silencing the noise once. It's about committing to clarity again and again. Every time doubt whispers, every time fear creeps in, every time comfort tries to convince you to play small, you rise, you breathe, and you return to clarity. You return to belief. You return to command. Because this is not just about mindset. This is about identity, and identity is built in repetition. The man who speaks greatness becomes great. The woman who walks with power becomes powerful. The soul that dares to believe, even when surrounded by silence, becomes unstoppable. Let others wait for signs. Let others obey their fears. Let others collapse under the weight of their thoughts. You are not others. You are the architect. You are the author. You are the master. You've been told your entire life to follow your dreams. But no one told you that dreams without purpose are just noise. No one told you that purpose is not something you find. It's something you decide. Purpose doesn't come down from the sky and land in your lap. It doesn't whisper to you when life feels good. Purpose
is forged in the depths, in the moments when nothing makes sense, and you choose to rise anyway. When everything inside you screams for comfort, and you choose to continue anyway. Your purpose begins the moment you say, enough. Enough waiting, enough drifting, enough shrinking, enough letting your mind run wild while your life runs cold. Purpose is not found in a book or a podcast. It's found in a moment of war with yourself. When you stop negotiating with your lower nature, when you stop entertaining thoughts that belong to a smaller version of you, when you choose to think higher, act sharper, move with fire.
Napoleon Hill understood this when he wrote, "Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Not hope, not talent, not resources. Definiteness. You must be able to say with absolute clarity, this is who I am. This is what I'm building, and nothing is allowed to exist in my mind that contradicts that. And when you live like that, the universe gets out of your way. People respond differently. Obstacles shrink. Opportunities multiply. Because you are no longer just thinking. You are commanding. And this command begins with discipline. Let's be honest. Most people don't lack dreams. They lack discipline. They know what to do. They know who they could become. But they haven't trained their mind to do it anyway, especially when they don't feel like it. Your mind is not the enemy. It is a tool. But tools are useless if not used with mastery. Discipline is how you bend your mind to your will. Discipline is how you silence the excuses, the urges, the distractions. Discipline is how you walk through fire and come out forged. You cannot wait to feel motivated. You cannot wait for perfect timing. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel. I made a promise to my future, and I'm showing up. Discipline says the mood is irrelevant. The mission is everything. Discipline says, I own my mind. I own my time. I own my results. And when your discipline aligns with your purpose, your life starts to accelerate. You stop being a slave to emotion. You stop needing external validation. You stop negotiating with mediocrity. Discipline becomes your baseline. Clarity becomes your language. Purpose becomes your fire. And thought becomes your sword. Because you've mastered the one thing most never even attempt to control, your own mind. Not partially, not occasionally, fully, completely, relentlessly. And with that mastery, anything becomes possible. Not through luck, not through waiting, but through design, through repetition, through inner command. So ask yourself, right now, am I living with purpose, or am I still reacting to life with no direction?
Gratitude is not weakness. It is not soft. It is not sentimental fluff to be whispered once a year at the dinner table. Gratitude is power, because it aligns your mind with abundance instead of scarcity. And here's what most people never understand. You cannot master a mind rooted in lack. You cannot create from a state of neediness. You cannot build a future if your mind is always focused on what's missing. Gratitude resets your internal compass. It reminds your mind that you already have power. You already have gifts. You already have everything you need to take the next step. Napoleon Hill wrote, "No wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice." Gratitude is a form of truth. because it keeps you grounded in what's real: your breath, your ability to choose, your capacity to rise. It rewires your perception, and your perception determines your direction. Because when you start your day noticing what's good, your brain becomes a hunter of greatness. You begin to find beauty in adversity, lessons in failure, fuel in rejection. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you see better. And when you see better, you think better. And when you think better, you become better. Gratitude does not mean settling. It means recognizing what you have while building what you want. It means saying, I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not who I used to be. I have a mountain to climb, but at least I've got legs. The world may test me, but I've still got breath, focus, and fire. You don't wait for a breakthrough to feel grateful. You become grateful, and the breakthrough comes because you're aligned, centered, tuned in. And once you align your energy with appreciation, life begins to trust you with more clarity, more strength, more opportunity. But here's where the real test begins. When life hits, when the rug is pulled from beneath your feet, when your plans fall apart and your mind starts to scream, "Why is this happening to me?" This is when your mastery is revealed. Not when everything is flowing, but when it's falling. When you're shaken, but you still return to center. When you're hurt, but still focused. When everything around you looks like chaos, and yet your mind remains steady. This is adaptability. This is resilience. And this is the next level of mental mastery. Most people are slaves to their environment. When the world smiles, they smile. When life punishes them, they collapse. They react.
You don't need a perfect life to live powerfully. You need a powerful mind that chooses clarity over chaos, that pivots instead of panics, that breathes when others break. So when life throws you off course, breathe, reset, adapt. Say to yourself, this challenge isn't here to destroy me. It's here to upgrade me. My goals haven't changed, only the path has. I am not a prisoner of circumstance. I am the master of my internal world. Because when you reach that level, nothing owns you. Not failure, not fear, not pressure, not doubt. You become the one thing this world can't shake. Unshakable. You want to know what separates the few who rise from the millions who settle? It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not money, education, background, or opportunity. It's this: resilience. The ability to get hit and not shatter. The ability to lose and not label yourself a loser. The ability to keep moving when everything in you wants to stop. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It is a muscle. It is a choice. It is a decision made in private, in pain, in darkness. Because the path to mastery is paved with rejection, with disappointment, with delay, and with pain most people never endure, because they quit before they ever truly begin. But here is the truth that most will never face. Pain is not the enemy. Weakness is not the enemy. Avoidance is the enemy. Avoidance of growth. Avoidance of pressure.
avoidance of who you're supposed to become. Napoleon Hill said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But that benefit is only revealed to those who stay in the fire, to those who don't run, to those who don't fold, to those who understand that pressure isn't there to destroy you, it's there to shape you." Every time you feel resistance, that's the exact place you need to lean in. Every time you're tempted to run, that's the moment to stand taller. Every time you feel like quitting, that's the signal that you're standing at the edge of transformation. Because life doesn't just hand over power to the interested. It rewards the committed. It crowns the ones who get back up, bloody, broken, and breathless, again and again and again. Resilience is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about facing the storm and saying,
Speak like the version of you who already exists beyond this challenge. Because when your mind is trained to hold power in adversity, when you no longer flinch at failure, when you welcome pressure like a teacher instead of a threat, you become unstoppable. You become someone this world doesn't know what to do with. Because no setback can define you, no loss can own you, and no fear can cage you. But even that isn't the highest level, because after resilience comes responsibility. The moment you rise, the moment you start thinking clearly, acting boldly, mastering your reactions, that's when something shifts. You no longer just rise for you. You rise because someone is watching. A younger version of you, your future child, your audience, your team, the world. And in that moment, everything becomes sacred. Your thoughts aren't just mental noise anymore. They're the beginning of legacy. Your discipline isn't just for your goals. It becomes the roadmap for someone else's breakthrough. Your resilience becomes proof that it's possible to bend without breaking, to fall without failing, to suffer without surrender. Because there is someone out there who needs your strength to wake up their own. Mastering your mind is not just personal. It's generational, it's spiritual, it's global. You have no idea who your strength is inspiring. So show up, not just for yourself, but for every life you're meant to impact, starting with your own. Learning is not a phase. It is not a season. It is not something you graduate from. Learning is your lifelong contract with greatness. Because the moment you stop learning, you start decaying. The moment you believe you know enough, you quietly kill your own growth. Your mind was not built for stagnation. It was built for elevation, expansion, depth. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when and if it is organized into definite plans of action." So learning without action, that's mental clutter. Learning without discipline, that's passive entertainment. But learning with urgency, learning with execution, that is evolution. You must make a vow to yourself that no matter how much you've grown, you will never become arrogant in your mind. That no matter how far you've come, you will always remain a student of life, a student of self,
a student of mastery. The most dangerous people in the world are those who can say, "I don't know yet, but I'm willing to learn." That humility, that hunger, is what sharpens your edge, because when you stop learning, you start reacting. When you stop learning, you become defensive instead of curious. When you stop learning, you return to default instead of design. Make it a daily ritual. Read, listen, reflect. Seek feedback that stings because it shows you where to grow. Learn from failure, not just success. Study the patterns, not just the wins, because behind every giant leap forward was a quiet moment of self-awareness. A moment when someone chose to face their flaws and not flinch. And once you build that mindset, that relentless thirst for better, you begin creating something greater than progress. You begin building legacy. Legacy is not money. It is not property. It is not trophies or fame or applause. Legacy is what lives beyond you. It is the impact of your mind on the world around you. Your thoughts don't die when you do. They live on through the actions you took, the people you influenced, the standard you set. When you master your mind, you don't just change your life. You change your bloodline. You rewrite the blueprint for what's possible in your family, your community, your culture. You become the turning point. The moment the excuses stopped. The moment the cycle broke. The moment average ended. You will not be remembered for what you avoided. You will be remembered for what you faced.
You were not born to follow. You were born to lead, starting with yourself.
So if they're still doubting you, hear this. You don't need permission. You don't need more time. You don't need every answer before you begin. You need only one thing: the decision to think differently. Because once your mind changes, everything else does too.
You will no longer settle. You will no longer self-sabotage. You will no longer outsource your future to fear, to noise, or to circumstances. From this moment forward, you walk as the master. And that mastery begins with a single thought. I was made for more, and I will not wait another day to become it. Stand tall now. Breathe deep. This is the part where the old version of you fades, where the excuses, the fear, the hesitation, they dissolve under the weight of your decision. Not a hope, not a wish, but a command. From this moment on, you speak power. From this moment on, you think on purpose. From this moment on, your mind obeys you. Because now you know the battlefield is not out there, it's in here. In the invisible realm of thought, in the quiet hours when no one is watching. When you choose to either let your mind drift or demand it build. You've seen the truth, that thought is the first creation. Action is the second, and reality the third. Your world is not created by your job, your past, or your family. It is created hour by hour by the thoughts you allow to lead. And from this moment forward, you allow only one kind of thought, the kind that builds empires, the kind that fuels discipline, the kind that calls your future closer. You were not put here to be average. You were not put here to survive. You were not put here to live inside the mental cages built by weaker men. You were born with the most powerful tool known to man, a mind, a will, a choice. Use it. Every morning, return to the mirror and remind yourself, this is my mind. It serves me. I do not serve it.
I choose focus. I choose fire. I choose to become the architect of my destiny. Let others scroll. Let others doubt. Let others procrastinate until the clock runs out. But not you. You rise. You train. You think like a warrior, a builder, a king. You sharpen your mind like a blade until every thought cuts through resistance, until every decision comes from conviction, not comfort, until your very presence speaks, Master. And when people ask what changed, you won't talk about the money, or the titles, or the trophies. You'll say this: I changed my thoughts, and my thoughts changed everything. This is your time. This is your shift.
If this message lit a fire in you, if it gave you clarity, strength, or courage, then do not keep it to yourself. Share it. Comment below what spoke to your soul and subscribe to the channel for more timeless truth. Subscribe to Napoleon Hill Success Secrets, because this is not motivation. This is transformation, and your journey has only just begun.